Hello, sports fans, and welcome to another edition of Scott Sports 101 Monday Night Football. We'll have to call it a pregame halftime show because it's well underway, and we'll get to that in just a sec. But first, here is today's Scott Sports 101 Monday Night Football trivia question. Who was the first African-American head coach to win a Super Bowl? I'll have that answer later in the broadcast. It's Monday Night Football. The Kansas City Chiefs and the Denver Broncos are squaring off at Sports Authority Stadium in Denver, Colorado. And right now, the Broncos are beating the Chiefs 13-10 at halftime. And it's been a wild first half. Patrick Mahoney has 65 yards and I think 16 of 33 carries and attempts. And the Broncos quarterback is really dominating, and they're dominating this first half. And I feel the Broncos have the edge in this game. And if the Chiefs want to win this game, they're going to need to come out and really dominate the second half and really put the pressure on the Broncos quarterback and their running game as well, because there's been one touchdown pass. Actually, I can say both teams have scored field goals. I think there's one field goal per. I think two field goals, or a couple of field goals. I can't remember. And both teams have had one touchdown. Have had one TD. So it's been an interesting first half, but I think this second half is going to really, I think it's going to be more so, because I think Denver is going to continue to dominate, and the Chiefs are going to really want to win this, and they're going to have to put the pressure on the Broncos quarterback and the running game as well. And I'm going to go over yesterday's action one more time. For those of you who did not get to hear it, I'll do it again. The Houston Texans beat the Indianapolis Colts in overtime, 37-34. At Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, Indiana. The Green Bay Packers shut out the Buffalo Bills at Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And Aaron Rodgers did play. The Chicago Bears walloped the Tampa Bay Bucks 48-10 as Soldier fell in Chicago, and Chicago is just all over Tampa Bay. The New England Patriots whooped the Miami Dolphins 38-7 at Gillette Stadium in Boston, Massachusetts. The Dallas Cowboys beat the Detroit Lions at AT&T Stadium in Dallas, or as I like to say, Big D, 26-24. The Cincinnati Bengals came from behind and beat the Atlanta Falcons 37-36 by 1 at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. The Jacksonville Jaguars beat the New York Jets 31-12 at Everbank Stadium in Jacksonville, Florida. The Tennessee Titans beat the Philadelphia Eagles in overtime at LP Field in Nashville, Tennessee, 26-23. Tennessee scored a touchdown in the final seconds of overtime to win it. The Seattle Seahawks beat the Arizona Cardinals 20-17 at University of Phoenix Stadium in New Orleans. In Arizona, excuse me. The New Orleans Saints beat the New York Giants at MetLife Stadium in New York City, 33-18. And the Los Angeles Chargers beat the San Francisco 49ers by 2, 29-27 at StubHub Center in Los Angeles, California. And Sunday Night Football last night, the Baltimore Ravens beat the Pittsburgh Steelers at Heinz Field 26-14. And another way, I wanted to wait till this one, the last. Oakland Raiders beat the Cleveland Browns at 45-42 in overtime at Oakland Coliseum in Oakland. And the Browns really, they played well, and they did play with a vengeance. And Baker Mayfield played well. He had 4 turnovers, but despite the 4 turnovers, he did play very well, and I give him a B, and I give Derek Carr an A. And I gave Derek Carr the game ball for that game, but I'm also going to give a game ball to Browns wide receiver Carlos Hyde, who scored 2 TDs in that game, and traveled, I think it was 110 yards. So Carlos Hyde, you're the Browns player this week that gets the game ball in that game. So one Browns player got a game ball, and Oakland's quarterback got a game ball. So it was a split this week. And the Browns will play the Baltimore Ravens next Sunday, this coming Sunday at 1 o'clock at home at First Energy Stadium. And Thursday night football, I think it's the Houston Texans and no, it's not Houston. Because that's not. And we'll have Thursday night football to kickoff week 3. I'll let you know who's playing on my post-game show for Thursday night football. I will let you know that because I can't figure it out right now. But yeah, the Browns did really well, and Terrence Mitchell got injured, and that really hurt the Browns. But I think they're going to work around that, and they're going to look at their mistakes because there are way too many mistakes. And I do feel that the Browns are really going to, I hope, can come back and beat the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday at 1 at home at First Energy Stadium. And I like their chances, and if they can really come out and dominate, they're going to win this ball game. So we'll see what happens in that one. So tune in for that one. This is a game I felt the Browns should have won, and I'm going to go over the highlights again. The Raiders jumped out to the early 7-0 lead in the first quarter, but then the Browns got a field goal, and it was 7-3 at the first quarter. And then in the second quarter, Mayfield threw his first TD pass to Nick Chubb for 63 yards, and it was a 10-7 Browns lead. And then the Raiders intercepted the ball, and the Browns got the ball back at the 20-yard line. And Mayfield had his second TD pass from Darren Fells. I think that was not Darren Fells, it was Carlos Hyde, excuse me. I do apologize for that. And it was 17-7 Browns lead. And the Raiders then scored another TD thanks to and it was 10-7 Browns lead. And then the Browns scored another one. It was 17-7, and then the Raiders then scored another TD, and it was thanks to Jared Cook for 55 yards, and it was 17-14 Browns led at halftime. And in the third, the Browns kicked another field goal, and it was 20-14. Then the Browns led. The Raiders fumbled, and the Browns got the ball back. Another TD, Carlos Hyde to score again, 82 yards, and it was a 28-14 Browns lead. But the Raiders would score another TD thanks to Jordy Nelson, who took the ball 48 yards, and it was 28-21 Browns lead. And then things got ugly in the fourth quarter. The Raiders kicked a field goal, and it was 28-24, and the Browns lead was really dwindling. Then the Raiders would come back and score again, and it was a Browns interception, and it was 31-28, and then 34-28 the Raiders led, and then and then the Browns would score another TD, and it was and Nick Chubb took the ball for 52 yards. It was 35-34, and then the Raiders would had tried to score but weren't able. Had to go 3 and out, and then the Browns got the ball, and then they scored another TD, and it was thanks to Jarvis Landry, and it was a 42-yard one. It was 42-34 Browns lead, but then Raiders would score a TD thanks to Jordan Cook, 55 yards again, and it was tied at 42, and so to overtime we go. The Browns did everything they could to win this. They should have gone for a 2-point conversion and would have been up by 8 instead of 9 instead of 8, but that was not the case. But then Mayfield threw turnovers, and they were costly, and the mistakes were costly, and the Raiders kicked the field goal, and the Raiders got the win 45-42, and it was just I like the Browns' chances to win this game on Sunday, and hopefully they can beat the Ravens. Now, we'll get back to tonight's game in just a sec, but it's now time for the answer to today's Scott Sports 101 trivia question. Who was the first African-American head coach to win a Super Bowl? If you said Tony Dungy, you are correct. Long saddle with a reputation as a coach who couldn't win the big one, Tony Dungy shook that label when his Indianapolis Colts beat the Chicago Bears 29-17 in Super Bowl 51. Now, and I'll have another trivia question on my next broadcast, so stay tuned for that. And I think the second half of the game has just gotten underway, and I just feel Denver has the edge in this game, so I feel that Denver is really, going to win this one, and I'll see if I win my picks tonight, and I'll let you know about that on the post-game show. And I really feel the Chiefs must dominate and stop the Broncos QB and the running game. And so we'll see what happens in this second half, and well, that's going to wrap it up for this Monday Night Football pregame show, halftime show on Scott Sports 101. I'll have a postgame show immediately following the game once it's concluded. But until then, always remember, be a team player each and every day in every way possible. Enjoy the game. So long, everybody. 3, 2, 1. I'm done.